And welcome, boys and girls. It is a Saturday spinny edition. The 3 on Week Best Bets program. Matthew Cox, Jimothy Root, Kyle McKeon spinning, not flying. Still lacking some W40 on this. Fellas, this slate is way too big. Just going to kind of come out there and say it. They all get smaller from here. So please fill in the gaps as I will do for you. Chat mob, welcome. Lovely to have you. Please subscribe and like, by the way, before we get started. And make sure if you're not a member of our Discord, join us. Link is attached in our Twitter handle and will be in the description. Is that right, Kai?
That's right,
Thoughts
Matthew.
from what we learned this week? Do we want to just get right into action? Because there's a lot to get to today. Jim, anything strong, profound you want to share? No.
I would have loved to see your Hoosiers get another win last night and
Yeah,
just
I told
slowly
you at
creep their
home,
way into the
don't trust
mess.
them at
Yeah.
home. They're a pumpkin at home. That's my take this year.
I was on Merrimack
Uh,
yesterday, Matt. I didn't like that.
Tough end game for you there.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't get
yeah,
that. They've done that twice, like I think so far in NAAC play, just
yeah.
completely hemorrhaged leads.
It's February.
You want to talk about it more or not? Yeah,
No,
let's
no,
move
it's
forward.
okay. It's okay. We can move on. It's fine.
Well, we start today in SEC country as we typically do because this conference is an absolute gauntlet. Kai, Alabama and the Iron Bowl, excuse me, they host Auburn. -1 this opened, a total of 172. I kind of like the under. What the hell do I know? Kai, any take on this one? It's kind of a coin flip. Do we trust the Bama surge? Auburn on the road outside of the jungle? 3 p.m. tip here.
Yeah, was it? Did it -1? I know it got up to 2.5. I was actually kind of hoping it was 3.
-1.5, whatever.
Some of the softer openers were Auburn favored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
uh,
count the soft
I
openers. I
was.
count the
You should not.
consensus openers.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a hardo on openers.
Point
I'm
is,
an
it was
opener.
2.5 yesterday, last night, and I was hoping it would get to 3, so I could take Auburn. That's the way I lean in this game. Now, it's awesome, awesome game. Bama hasn't lost in a month. Auburn, best team in the country. The question for Auburn is, can they slow down the quick, lightning fast Bama guards? Transition defense is solid per synergy. It's not excellent. Their 3-point defense is elite. Number one 3-point percentage defense in the country. And it makes, the SEC. And it makes sense because they're big. They're athletic on the perimeter. They can run shooters off the line, and they have the best shot blocking core in the SEC. You see bad defensive rebounding stats for them in conference play. I think that's a little bit smoke and mirrors with how well they block shots, like 19.5% block rate. This team protects the rim and the paint at clearly an elite level. I think they're going to be fine on the glass here. And on the other end, I'm not sure Alabama's inability to force turnovers, Jim, is a great thing in this matchup. And the Tigers are bigger, more physical up front. I lean Auburn in this game at 2.
I do too. I lean Auburn, and it feels foolish. I know the spot crowds all over Alabama. It's one of the most popular picks in that circuit contest that just kicked off this week that I am in. Texas is the most popular one. People love Hook'em today. But
What?
yeah, I
Laying
so
the
I'll
three?
be
Good
I'll
luck to you.
yeah, we'll talk about that one maybe later. But yeah, I'm rooting for Auburn for that reason. Matt, I'm more interested in the total. You said you kind of like the under. I like the over. I wrote it up for Action Network. I think this one really pinballs back and forth, fueled by the crowd, the
Yeah,
atmosphere.
I
I
buy that.
don't think Auburn is going to be like, let's walk it up. Let's slow it down. I think you'll see a lot of quick possessions, a lot of back and forth. And I'm also, you have the top two offenses in the country per Ken Palm. That matters. Probably a lot of efficiency. And I think you'll see a lot of small ball. Like, I don't think Cliff and Cardwell will play a ton of minutes in this game. I think you'll see a lot more 5 out, which is going to lead to efficiency, higher pace. Bama, easier to dictate pace when you're at home in front of that crowd. Number two in the country in tempo. So I'm leaning the over, Matthew. Not going to take it as the best bet on the show, but I like it. And yeah, lean to Auburn on the side. I can't wait to watch this game. It's sad that Mizzou is at the same time on SEC Network, but this is a must-watch ball game.
Yeah, I mean, Broom, if you're looking for player prop, Broom dominated both these games last year. Only played 25 and 26 minutes. It sucks that he's not like 110% healthy here. So you worry that he, to Jim's point, maybe played off the floor or may not be 100% healthy. It might just be under some minor load management. I was just, again, I'll give a few player prop nuggets throughout the show, Kai. And that was one that just given the matchup, if Pearl decides to really lean into his size advantage, um, and Broom can go. Now, Broom's not really been shooting that well since he got back. His field goal percentage is down a little bit, but I think the volume's there. Matty player prop special. There it is. Boom. Let's continue. Kai, we're going out west of the desert. Arizona hosting Houston. Another fun marquee matchup where the spread is almost negligible. You're really just picking the winner here, but there is some Houston money now up to -2. So you got Arizona as a short home dog. Early start here, 1 p.m. on the West Coast. Kai, your thoughts on this handicap?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and just say it. Houston best bet -2. Enormous
Love it.
game. Houston goes up 2 games in the Big 12 with a win. Arizona ties them for first place with a win, owns the tiebreaker. It seems to me, I'm just a skeptical or a normal person here. The Cougs seem to be healthy right now. I think they win the glass battle, of course. I expect them to hound Caleb Love the entire game. Arizona does have a big perimeter, so you can combat Houston shooting a little bit, but I'm curious how much that changes when they have to collapse and protect the glass as hard as they do. Easy kick out threes, kind of what Houston feasts on. Zona wants to run. Houston is the best transition defense in the country. You can't leak out against them because they rebound so well. It really is a pick your poison type of thing. And then no surprise, Houston, Jim, one of the premier ball screen defenses in the country. That is Arizona's primary half-court go-to. For me, it's Houston. -2, best bet.
I love it, Kai. I'm pretty leveraged on Houston winning the Big 12 in futures and future parlay. So I'm not doubling down on this one, but gosh, I hope your best bet is an absolute blowout winner, to quote our pal Mike Shang in the chat.
Shout to Zhang.
Yeah, the physicality I think does get to them a little bit. Carter Bryant's going to be in the crosshairs today, I think, on the offensive glass. To your point, Kai, the health seems a little better. Francis got up there in minutes last game. Sharp started, played 25 minutes. Cryer seems okay with his little knuckle injury. So yeah, Matt, I lean Houston as well. I just think they're the better team. I think Arizona, I know you could argue a little bit buy low for them, given that they lost at K-State, coming back home, solid home court. This is another popular pick in the circuit contest. People do like Arizona here, the hype home spot. But I'm with Kai, kind of back-to-back games here where I like the elite team on the road in the tough environment.
Yeah, I think those younger bigs for Arizona will play better at home, but they have not played against a front line like Houston. It's just a different animal when you first time you haven't seen it. As well as those, is it Visar? Who's the young international big that's
Visar's
improving
been
rapidly?
awesome off
He's
the
been
bench.
terrific,
He's been
right?
really good.
But again, this is a different operation that Houston brings to bear.
Houston,
All right, let's
Houston
go.
keeping it in half court would be good
Smart
for them.
Yeah,
Very good.
I would agree with that. Yeah, backcourt advantage, actually, I think I'd probably give it to the home team. But then Caleb Love is sort of I feel like Arizona, you're betting on a Caleb Love experience, and it's just never a fun endeavor on either side of an Arizona wager. That's my only concern with that. But I'm sure, Kai, to your point, Houston will bottle him up as good teams usually do to Love. Big Ten country, Purdue hosting Wisconsin. If this spread was 5, I would be adding a best bet as well on the Boilers off that loss to Michigan, a game that I frankly think they just outplayed Michigan. And if you flip that on its head, right? So maybe Purdue holds on, like they really have done nothing wrong. And as good as Wisconsin's been, I just kind of like this spot here for Purdue, kind of a matinee hype home Mackey performance against a team that, I think they remember that this team beat them last year in the Big Ten tournament. Like this was the only loss they really had outside of UConn late down the stretch. I do think there's a little bit of a revenge. I'm not sure how much I want to praise for that, Orth Jim, but I like Purdue here. And just a quick shout to Braden Smith, Kai's boy, who has been out of his mind good. Didn't think he had a new gear in him, but he does. So he's kind of the key in this matchup, I think.
He's better with the beard. He got rid of that goatee, and he's an All-American. I mean, he was really good last year too, but I love him with the beard. Bearded Braden. Yeah, I like Purdue as well, Matt.
Steal rate. He's like a Deontay Weber right now. It's insane.
Yeah. They're number 1 in the Big Ten in defensive turnover rate. And yeah, that's kind of a strength of Wisconsin, is not coughing the ball up. But in that environment, maybe you see a little bit more vulnerability there. I could see that being something. Matt, I immediately thought of the Big Ten tournament last year too. For some reason, that matters to me in this handicap. And you're getting Purdue off a loss, which I also think matters. Wisconsin's flying a bit too high. I'm excited to see, Kai, where they're at in the CBS reveal in an hour and a half or in 80 minutes, because Wisconsin might be a 3 seed. And that just feels a little above their level, given what's on that roster, even as good as Tanjay and Blackwell have been. So yeah, I also lean Purdue, Matt. I'm closer to taking it at 5.5 than you are. I think I think Purdue is the better team and has a big home court and buy low and good spot. So big debate for me on whether I'm going to take Purdue. Quick historical note: 8 of the last 10 between these two have gone over. So if you're expecting points, and given the trajectory and the build of both teams, perhaps there's something there. But Kai, more of a lean towards Purdue with Matt.
Hi, CJ Cox, my brother. He's the X Factor today.
Well,
he's been awesome at home. I think there's a shining bright future for him.
The way Zoolander uses brother, or just like an actual brother?
Both.
Okay, that's more meaningful, I think. Purdue off, tough loss in Michigan. Wisconsin won 3 straight. It's it's a huge game for seeding in the Big Ten tourney. Top four seeds get double byes, very, very important. This game and Michigan State Illinois game, you have to be worried about Purdue's perimeter defense against Wisconsin. I kind of actually think the matchup is Wisconsin in this game. You get this little four factors matchup with KenPom. Number one 3-point percentage, number one 3-point attempt rate with Wisconsin versus the number 16 3-point attempt rate allowed defense in Purdue. It's not an overly intimidating, big athletic perimeter, Purdue. You mentioned Braden Smith. Matthew, yes, he gets his hands on everything, but it's still not a huge, intimidating shell. And the Tanjay Blackwell combo seems like it might give them a little bit of trouble. And Wisconsin also seems like they're pretty well equipped up front to guard the interior. Their post defense is excellent. That's Purdue's bread and butter. I do think Purdue will get better shots, and Mackey is an incredibly hard place to win at. If Wisconsin's cold, this game's over. I did take Purdue at 5.5 because of I think the spot is so strong, the home court is so strong. I do have the vibes feeling for Purdue, Matt, but I'm not really confident in the bet.
I think it was Danny Sprinkle, and with all the big men that are in this conference, like how well you defend the post is like a game within a game. I think Sprinkle's one who said these are the two best post defenses in the Big Ten. I think Nebraska has their very unique approach. They're pretty good at collapsing as well, but these are kind of a fun little guard versus painter chess match up front. We stay in Big Ten country for our last game before we get to Chat Mob Part 1. Illinois hosting Michigan State. We discussed the revenge angle on our podcast earlier this week. Market seemed to agree, Jim. -6.5. It opened -5. I think it's a little too rich. And I know Michigan State is sort of in a lull because they lost 3 of 4. I still think it was too high for me to lay Illinois. I was wanting to bet Illinois here, but I thought 6.5 was too rich, so I passed.
Yeah, you can get a 6 out there. I don't mind that. I would have loved that 5. I would have laid it at the 5. Maybe a best bet here. I think that revenge thing matters. Illinois, maybe the team doesn't care as much, but the fans are pissed about that game in East Lansing. The Casper Yakichonis foul trouble, it was a little bit absurd. And I think it's an okay matchup for Illinois where they're going to play off of the bad shooters, of which there are many on Michigan State, guys that are not, they're playing 2 or 3 guys that truly cannot shoot all the time. Kyle, you love it. The dorking, your favorite college basketball
That's my
term.
Yes.
Yes.
My favorite term. Yes.
And I think Illinois is trending up. Like they're starting to make shots. They were getting a fair amount of open jumpers and just not making them. And I think they've got better shooters than Michigan State. So back home with that kind of extra incentive, I don't love going against Izzo's a dog. I think they're scrappy. They fight. But I could see Illinois just even extending this with free throws late in the game. So big lean to the Illini, would not lay 6.5.
Yeah. Mark, it took this one, right? Steam. I think KenPom's got it 4, right? Like that was a price I would have loved on the Illini. Yeah, they lost by 2 in East Lansing. KJ had 5,008 minutes. They were 5 for 24 from the 3-point line. They were 17 for 27 from the free throw line. 2-point game. I do think Illinois kind of gets them back here. They're one of the few teams that can kind of stand up to Sparty's glass attack without fouling. Right, Sparty, number 1 offensive rebounding team in the Big Ten, number 1 free throw attempt rate. Illinois is number 1 on defense on both those angles. And I do think they have an advantage in the pick and roll. Sparty average defending it overall this season. They stopped it in game 1, but again, no KJ. And he completely opens up their offense in a totally different way. I do think the arc's going to be there for Illinois, Matt, if they want the 3. Someone in the chat mentioned, will they stop just bombing 3s? They're better than a sub 30% shooting team. I'm convinced of it. They're dead last in the Big Ten right now in 3-point percentage. I do think it'll turn around eventually. Again, you kind of hope it'll happen, and it keeps not happening. I still believe they have at least a couple pretty darn good shooters in this team, KJ and Riley to be specific. Yeah, 7's pushing it. I definitely lean their way. Wouldn't back Michigan State. Market got away from it.
All right, let's mob it. Steady mob. Who is czarring?
Matt, plug the burner first. I'm sorry.
Well, I did it. I was going to do it at the close and at the open, but we'll do it. We'll sandwich in between as well. Hey, folks, if you're watching this, in the description of this YouTube feed, you will find a link conveniently provided by Kai McKeon. And there you can sign up to join our Discord and have really enriching discussions about college hoops, degenerate conversations about betting, trends, insights. I can assure you, I have won more money, or I guess lost less money, being a member. It is a people helping people. Sharp, or iron sharpens iron. What I'm trying to say. Thank you. Join us, please. A very, very friendly monthly fee of
all right.
$6.
We got close to 25 games already, and I'm sure more are going to roll in as we get here. So starting with the 3-pack from Pat Taylor, Kai, I know Matt doesn't look at the extra board, so we'll see if you've got a take on
It's
this.
just too
High
many
Point
games today. I'm
minus
sorry. I
four
know.
at Winthrop in the Big South. I kind of lean to Winthrop. High Point just had a massive home emotional win over Longwood, the team that took them out in the Big South tournament. I could see this being a letdown. What do you think?
Boy, I wish I didn't know the extra board existed this year, Jim. I think I'm getting kind of torched on it. Big South has kind of been a whack-a-mole for me this season, unfortunately. I've loved High Point all year. I've also been on Winthrop a ton. I have them rated way too high, so my number does lean Winthrop in this game. Not really interested in laying money on it, though.
You know that the Big South is like top three most efficient. It's approaching the summit in terms of most efficient conferences in the country.
Yeah, the
Which
best
is
defense
wild.
is Charleston Southern, and they're allowing over 1 point per possession.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
All right, Matthew, in CUSA, Jacksonville State coming off a loss at Sam Houston. They still retain a one-game lead in the conference standings, but now they go to Ruston, take on a kind of Jekyll and Hyde Louisiana Tech team. Bulldogs laying 3 at home. Anything for you there?
I'm a sucker. I bet Louisiana Tech. It's probably going to lose. This team's been bad. Like Bach only played 18 minutes last game. He didn't look right. But it does feel like an obvious bounce back spot. So I bid on the bait.
I kind of like that as well. Kind of SoCon. Pat's other one, Samford -1 at Wofford. Essentially a coin flip here. Samford, I just gut like them bouncing back after the Nuga game. What do you think?
Yeah, gut -1 is all Samford here. Yeah, I'll consider taking that just off pure looking at the line and going, huh? Wofford, we've been underrating all year. All three of us have been underrating Wofford, but I still think Samford's the best team in this conference.
Sanford wins by easy today. I know it's a tricky matchup here,
Yeah?
but I think they crush Wofford.
Put your money
Yeah,
on it.
I'm not a
then, Matt.
Wofford guy.
Put your money on it.
I did bet it.
Oh.
I took him small.
Oh,
No best bet
Small.
for you? Okay.
oh, okay.
No best bet.
Wofford
Great.
coming off OT at the Citadel. Ooh, that's not awesome. Matthew, you have been a UMass whisperer all season. They are hosting the Bonnies. Space A is wondering, Minutemen laying 2 at home against the Bonnies.
I kind of leaned their way. I didn't take it though. I respect Mark Schmidt too much. I think the Davidson loss midweek was just sort of a weird matchup. I gave him a pass for that. You remove that, and I'm pretty impressed with how his team's played, zooming out from that. But I respect Mark Schmidt too much. I don't think this Bonnie's team's completely dead, as they sort of were trending toward. Chance Moore last game, question mark. Big piece. They need him offensively. They don't really have a ton of offensive options without him in there.
I mean, they have like 6 players. They're second to
They
last
don't have any-
in
yeah,
bench
it's true,
minutes.
just
So
to-
you take
it's-
one guy out, and
Yeah.
it gets bad. And DeSante Bowen's been out for a long time now.
Yep.
Kai, you are staying in the SoCon. I'm sorry, bud.
That's
but
all right.
Another one from Space Ace. Furman -3 against UNCG, who's actually atop the league right now, tied with Chattanooga.
I took Furman too, Jim. I think it's a bounce back for the Paladins, who have not been great this season. Still think Bob Ritchie has the juice at home. Prefer Greensboro at home as well. So I took Furman 2. 3 probably wouldn't take. 2 is kind of my cutoff there.
Furman's playing in that like weird arena, right? While they construct the other one. It's not like their true
I'm
home
actually
arena,
not
I
aware of
think.
that, Jim.
I thought it was a temporary thing, Jim, but you might be right. You actually, I think
Double-checking.
you are right.
Yeah,
Chad, help
it's
us
like
out.
a Greensboro Coliseum or something, like a smaller one instead of the true on-campus arena.
I didn't like it. Yeah, it doesn't feel as
Bon
cozy.
Secours Wellness Arena, whatever that
Great
means to
venue.
you.
Sounds
Multi-purpose,
very
I think,
nice.
Kai.
Sounds very
Yeah.
nice.
Maddie, pinballing back to the CUSA. Ted Spencer, Sam Houston State laying 2 at home. They just picked off Jacksonville State for
Our
only their
Cats.
second win in the CUSA. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think they get it done today. Andre Weir did not play last game for Kennesaw. They're kind of been on bodies as well. And I think Sam Houston is still good, as bad as they have played in conference play. It's like the biggest parity-ridden conference in the country among many viable options, but I'm going to trust the home team here on the short turnaround that's finally got the monkey off their back with that win last on Thursday.
Matt, right back to you.
Good.
Clemson, the spot after the spot? Question mark.
Mm.
They beat Duke, they beat UNC. Now they go to Florida State. The concern is FSU just had that miracle comeback win at Wake. What do you think here? Clemson just taking a little bit of money while we've been on air, up to -5.
Yeah, my number says Florida State. My gut says Clemson. Seems like Clemson's a little spot proof, but then like they went to triple OT with Georgia Tech. I don't know. It's a tough team to figure out. I do think their style and their physicality and their size, while Florida State has that for days, I think that travels pretty well. I would lean Clemson, but the 5's too much. Don't touch this.
Yeah, I wanted to back FSU, but coming
Like
off that
3,
that's
sure.
scary.
5, I don't know.
Kai, the other side of that, flip side of that, Wake Forest, now they are desperately clinging to life in the bubble conversation after taking a Q3 loss. They go to SMU in a major bubble battle. Winner of this game's got much more of a leg up towards a bid. What do you think? I actually don't know.
8-point
For you.
spread.
I think it's 7.5, 8. Yeah.
Huge spread, but SMU kind of smokes teams that are their level and below. And I think that's what Wake is right now. I have no trust in Wake. I've seen a lot of people on Wake because it is a huge number when you look at it. It's like, what? How is Wake an 8-point dog to SMU? I think SMU's better. I don't trust Wake right now, and SMU's playing much better. I stay fully away in this game. 8's too much delay. Don't trust Wake Forest.
Forbes called it the worst loss of his tenure by a mile, which it probably was.
I mean, they were up 16 with like 7 minutes left or something. Yeah, it's disgusting. Kai, I guess I'll field this one because I know Matt just hates the extra board. Vermont, Maine, under. Corp asking about that. Yeah, I like that. Maine's been awesome defensively in conference, forcing a ton of turnovers. Vermont playing slow. Vermont just had an explosive outburst offensively last game, but I think they're still a little bit limited on that end. That felt like a mirage. So even despite the low total 125, I do lean that way.
Guys, Vermont's getting points at Maine. Like, I know Maine's better,
It's just
but
different.
like
It's different year,
Mark
man.
Wood, former assistant of Becker. Yeah, Becker knows the playbook. Like, that's a coaching familiarity edge, I think, to Vermont. Maybe it probably goes both ways, but plus 2.5. Okay, I don't know. Again, extra board. I am a
Vermont beat him game one. Too.
naive.
Matthew, question for you from Scott H in the Big 12. He mentioned BYU laying 7.5 against K-State. Boy, I like K-State. I took him at 6 in that contest. Tempted to go best bet here. They're just a fireball right now.
I like, yeah, I agree. I kind of like K-State first half. I think there is maybe some run out of steam late in the game if BYU's up 4 or 5. They bang a few threes in K-State's like, okay, whatever. We lose by 5, we lose by 15. Who cares? We got a good streak going. We go back home and I don't know. First half K-State. That's my take on this one.
I'll best bet it at 7.5.
That's a big number. I totally agree.
7.5, very available. K-State
Who's the better
plus
team?
7.5, one of my best bets.
Who's better
right
team?
now? It's K-State's been a top 10 team for a month, not just
Yeah,
like the
it's
winning
not just like a
streak
week,
for a
yeah.
month. K-State
That's a big
plus
number.
7.5, best bet. Kai, to you. Elon headed to UNC Wilmington. Mike Zhang asking if this is an absolute blowout winner for the Seahawks at home. Elon's kind of been trending down.
I do lean towards Wilmington. Yeah, Elon, I don't know what's wrong with them, Jim, but they are coming back down to earth. I always love back in Wilmington and Trask. So lean their way. Spread's too big for me to officially endorse it on the show.
I'll lean their way too. I agree.
4 more, and then we'll get back to the outline. Plenty of questions still to come in the second chat mob section. Don't worry, folks. Matthew from Toma, is Arkansas getting 8 too many points at your Texas A&M Aggies in the early tip coming up in just over a half hour?
It feels about right to me. I do lean Arkansas for sure, but the number felt right, so easy pass for me.
Yeah, I lean Arkansas too. I don't think A&M is like a blowout type team, and Arkansas has been playing well. Okay, Kai, multiple questions. Actually, we're gonna save the A10 question for you, Matt. Right back to you for your Highlanders, UC Riverside. Multiple questions about this too. Matt Akers, 712 winners. Anything on the side is currently a pick'em. Riverside hosting UC Santa Barbara. Also total question marks.
Yeah, it'll be a best bet for me. UC Riverside. They're at home. They've beaten UC San Diego at home. They've beaten UC Irvine at home. Those are 2 pretty good teams. And they remember, again, they should have won at UC Santa Barbara where they lost on a buzzer beater after a tough loss to UC Davis on Thursday. I think it's just a vintage cliche, get right, hype-ish, revenge-ish type spot for my Highlanders, who I love in general. So, yeah, I took UCR here. -1.
I think there's
pick. Yeah,
UCSB just had that home run effort, almost beat Irvine at Irvine. I love Riverside.
Exactly, good point. Yep.
So I'm not going to double it up with you, but I love that too. Kai, last one before we go back to the outline. St. Joe's at George Mason, a big one in the A10. Mason laying 4 at home against Billy Lang's team. That's really tough to figure out. Anything for you?
St. Joe's is a medium-sized dog, kind of scares me. They are arguably the most talented team in this league still. I know. They don't play like it. They're not coached like it, but they have the talent. I would be scared laying 4, 4.5.
I agree. I lean St. Joe's too.
Yep, agreed. George Mason's won a ton of close games, a ton. All right, that's it. Back to the outline, Matthew. I hope you know where we are on the outline.
Do I? Where is it? Hold on. Yes, I do. We're going to SEC country. We're going to Texas, Kai. Texas two-stepping, where people are, I guess, Jim, you're saying rushing to bet the Longhorns laying 3. I checked the coaches in this one. I think Rodney Terry's coaching for Texas and Mark Pope's coaching for Kentucky. Yes, I know Kentucky's had some defensive issues. I loved the breakdown. It was a good video about how Mark Pope changed his ball screen approach. They're like trying to blitz some stuff now to shake it up. Pope's a constant tinker. It's what you like with a good coach, right? Throughout the year, you kind of lessen the ebbs and the flows. I like the Cats +3. Not a bet for me, but I guess I would wish whoever took Texas at like even -2. Good luck. I think that's a trap.
Oh, to
Kai,
me,
sorry.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were handing it to me.
I just yeah, I just had a
That's
really
on
good
me.
take there. I didn't really say yep.
Yeah,
That's it's my
well, I
fault.
mean, they're betting the spot, right? They're betting the home team that needs it like blood. They're Texas
And
four
injuries too. They're betting, I
and
think.
injuries. Yeah, 4-8 in the SEC, 15-10 overall. They did nothing in the non-con. Texas needs to win, and Kentucky's banged up. Butler's still banged up. Jackson Robinson banged up. Yeah, Pope versus Terry Matt. I checked that coaching matchup too. I can confirm those are the two coaches. How is Texas going to guard this intricate cutting offense, a team that gets lost all the time defensively? They do have a ton of perimeter size, and they actually rock defending transition, the sneaky good transition defense team. But offensively, they're just too one-dimensional, Jim. It's a ton of isolation. It's transition, it's mid-range, it's isolation. UK's defense is bad, but maybe this Texas team can't hurt them as much as other teams can. The injuries had me balking, so I'll respect the injury market, I guess, and stay away. But 3.5 is a hard lean for Kentucky for me in this game.
Yeah, same, Kai. I think you hit it. The vulnerable part of this Kentucky defense is off the bounce, getting all the way to the rim, and basically nobody does that for Texas except Arthur Kaluma, and he's doubtful. He might not even play. I think much has been made about the Kentucky injuries. Kaluma actually matters. He's been really good this year. As much crap as we gave him in the preseason, he's been very helpful. The downhill athletic kind of wing, that's been a problem for Kentucky. And Matt, I kind of like these freshmen for the Wildcats. They're going to step up into roles with Butler and Jackson Robinson both out. I like Perry. I like Noah. I think if even if Chandler gets some minutes, I think they've got some gamer to them. So I lean Kentucky, but not going to best bet it. Just respecting the spot there.
Yeah, I mean Kentucky won at Tennessee. Like they can win at Texas. I'm not scared of Texas at all.
Yeah, they won at
Again,
Tennessee without Butler, without
without
Lamar
Butler.
Butler.
So anyway, I digress. I know you guys both have hot takes on Georgia hosting your Missouri Tigers. Jim, I'll go right to you for this one. I was a little bit surprised to see Mizzou laying 3. I get 2.5 now. I opened 2. I think it got to 3 now. It's 2.5. Georgia, young but really good at home. Mizzou's been awesome though. Maybe Mizzou's still undervalued. I can't quite figure out where I lie on the value meter about these teams. I ultimately stayed away. Are you back in your road Tigers and the SEC home gauntlet?
I'm pretty tempted. I think Georgia's one of the teams that's going to kind of sink to the bottom here. They're really young, and two of their guards that are hurt, Lawrence and Lefeu, are their veterans, like kind of the steady the ship type of guys. You might get one of them to play today. They're not like definitely out, but without that, it's freshmen and sophomores, and I could see them being in a little bit of a this game is it means so much to us to get right spot at home, winnable game. We got to get back in the tournament. And Kai Mizzou is a tough team to play. They travel fairly well because they've got great on-ball defense, and you can't altogether prepare for their offense because it's a lot of we're going to pick on your best defender or your worst defender. Like Blue Cane is getting ISO'd to death in this game, and I think that's going to be an advantage for Missouri. I think a lot of people are backing the spot here with Georgia as well, similar to Texas. Kai sinking ship in the SEC, kind of a last stand at home. I think Mizzou wins. I get every Mizzou game wrong against the spread, so not betting it, but I lean Tigers.
Jim, they're so hard to prepare for because Dennis Gates doesn't know who's going to step up and play before the game. It's a mystery, and maybe that's a good thing because they're deep and they're unpredictable. It's very tough to take away everything Mizzou can do. Offensively, they're just so hard to stop. If you're the number one three-point attempt rate team in the league and the number one free throw attempt rate in the league, I don't know if any team ever has had that combination. I'm making kind of a bold claim there, but that's a crazy 1-2. You take a lot of threes and you get to the line. Yeah, no wonder why your offense is pretty darn good. Now Georgia's going to get a pretty friendly whistle. They do have a big perimeter. They defend the rim really well with Asa Newell. I've been very impressed with him this year. Jim mentioned they need this game like blood. But Matt, Georgia scores by bowling on the glass and getting to the free throw line. Mizzou will send them there a lot. They do foul a lot as a Tiger fan, but they compete on the glass. This has been Gates' best rebounding team by far in his 3 years at Missouri. They have plenty of bodies to throw at Newell. They're going to throw some big and burly guys like Gray at him. They'll probably throw some rangy athletic guys at him like Mark Mitchell, maybe Allen or Shaw. We'll see.
Aiden Shaw's you
maybe. Spot, I do think shakes out for Georgia. I think Mizzou has the edge, though. They are really good. Athleticism, strength, all that good stuff.
Only concern with Mizzou, they are aggressive defensively. They hack. On the
Yep.
road in SEC play, I think there's been four straight opponents that have attempted 30 free throws. Like Texas was 34. Tennessee as well, I think it was a high number. I mean, that's a team that draws a lot of fouls. So, I mean, again, it could be matchup prone. I do think on the road, that sort of dichotomy will not work in your favor. But just the fact that Mizzou's proven that they're in that Tennessee game, they probably should have won the A&M game. They shot like crap. I think that's kind of this team actually has a good road profile, not just a feast or famine, rely on shot making profile, as I think some people maybe perceive. Um, and SEC, again, Kai, Ole Miss, Hotty Toddy hosting Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl. Chris Jans, a little bit dejected after last game. He was talking how he thought he had his best practice of the year, and they came out and Florida still just took him to the woodshed. I think that was like a light bulb of how good Florida is.
They're awesome.
I do like Jans here in this spot. I think it's a great spot here for the road doggy. Do you like the price though? Currently sitting at what is it? Sorry, 4.
I took
I
Ole
like
Miss. Ole Miss.
Did you? Okay, head to head for
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Game one was an overtime win for Mississippi State, and they dominated. They didn't actually trail until overtime. Ole Miss had the lead in overtime. That was it. It killed them on the glass, and that's repeatable in this game. They grabbed 48% of their misses, 19 offensive rebounds. That's scary. Ole Miss did force turnovers, 15 turnovers. They're riding high of a 3-game win streak. I do think they bounce back. I think they even up the Egg Bowl series here. The Rebs don't make many mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. I think they're going to get plenty of chances to get hot from deep against a Jan's defense that typically packs it in. They don't really overextend. So I like them here in a bounce back from game one and taking -4.
I do too, Kai. Road revenge. I think Mississippi State's got some real problems. How many good spots can they be in and
It's
lay
fair.
eggs? I mean, you thought it was a good spot hosting Mizzou, and they got pounded by 27. Good spot hosting Florida, and they got murdered. Wasn't really close in that game. A pretty decent spot against Alabama. At least they competed, but I don't know, man. I don't think Stark Vegas has as much juice as a lot of the other SEC venues. Matt's point about Jan's not sounding overly thrilled with his team right now, I think matters. I do like Ole Miss as well, but not in love with the number. I think they're evenly matched teams. The -4 is fair.
All right, we head out west to the mountaintops. Kai, San Diego, actually not really. We're heading down to sunny California, but in the Mountain West Conference at Viejas, the show will be on full display when Boise comes to town. Very interesting market dynamics on this one. I think we all maybe thought this would open higher. Maybe that's just me, but opened around 2.5, or maybe it was 2, and then it got bet down to 1. Now it's back to 2. So very real market tug of war here. Real money on both sides. I stand with the Aztecs. It's a best bet for me.
Oh,
They
good.
have not been consistent, and they have frankly not been that great lately, especially. But I think their good is still very much like a different tier than the rest of this league. I think you get them in this spot, catching Boise off almost like I think too long of a layoff, like almost like 8 days might be rusty, especially for a team that was playing well. Kind of interrupts that winning streak, that mojo. It just they beat Houston, they crushed Nevada at Nevada, and they crushed who was the other awesome one? Like this team has played awesome in big time games. I think they get it done today. Younger team, I think at home it's going to help. I laid it, Jim. 2. Tex.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you got the road revenge angle here. San Diego State won at Boise. Maybe Boise goes and gets it done on the road, but I do lean towards them completing the sweep as well. I think they play up better against better competition. I mean, just get them against anybody but San Jose State in the first half, and the Aztecs do look a little bit better. Great interior defense still with Glath. I think that matters a ton against Boise's kind of like bludgeon you front line. They play huge, basically like 4 big men sometimes. I don't know if they have the heft so much to deal with it. Like it's more of a thin athletic team for San Diego State this year, but with the home team, and I think these teams are close to evenly matched. So -1, I see value on the Aztecs. Kai, what do you say?
I agree. I'm on San Diego State as well, fellas. But Matt's right. They have not been great recently. 2 3-point wins against San Jose State, 2-point win against Wyoming, lost Colorado State, lost to UNLV, overtime with Air Force. This is a lot of yikes stuff.
It's a bad big favorite team.
Yes.
It's a bad big favorite.
I do think it's a bounce back at Viejas. Again, they're still very much in the mix for an at-large. They're top 10 defense in the country, #1 block rate in the country, and they did beat Boise back in January. They control the glass, and I do think they're one of the very few teams that can match up with the size of Boise. They play like 4 forwards. They'll have a better backcourt in this one, too, the Aztecs. Boise lacks shooting. It's very tough to score inside against San Diego State. The question is, Matt, can your Aztecs score? That's the ultimate question, seems to be in every game with San Diego State. But I do like them here. Yeah, laying 2, laying 1.
Sorry, looking at Tyson Decent Heart, as we call him. Kai had a terrible game. I think he was 9 points, 0 of 5 from three. That's the key. I mean, he's been playing really well lately. He's kind of a tough matchup for anybody. I got to think Miles Bird is the matchup there. A little skinnier. Decent Heart could probably back him down and kind of bully him in the post. And I think he'll do that more because Boise's gone to more of a perimeter 4 out, 5 out look. They've really kind of used Decent or Deegan Hart as like a quasi 4-5 man, which has kind of fueled this run. I just don't think that works against San Diego State. I think their size and length up front is going to be a kryptonite to that, as we saw, I think, somewhat in that first matchup. Okay, chat mob, round two. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Question on the total. Question on the
Oh,
total in the Boise game. I don't have a strong take. I mean, typically I think under with those two
134
teams.
and a half.
I looked
Got
at the
that down a little
history.
bit.
There's not a lot there. I thought there'd be more of a lean to the under, but I just a lean. Nothing strong there. Space Ace. So yeah. Okay. Back to chat mob. We have a ton of questions. Let's be quick. I will try not to be too wordy myself. Matthew, you're Mr. Arlington +8 at home against Grand Canyon from 7-1-2 winners. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I took them again. I know it's a tough spot. They played like trash last game off a crazy comeback OT win. Then they're probably shorthanded again. I still think eight's a lot for a team I don't think's all that much less talented than Grand Canyon, so to speak. So yeah, it's yeah.
I'm taking this one from Bram. Cincinnati +12.5, +12 at Iowa State. Yeah, that's too many. I think Cincinnati is much closer to where we expected them to be right now. Value's way too low in the market. The dodgeball Bear Kittens, I think, continue to compete, look a little bit better there. I think they can score with Iowa State, even with Momcilovic back. So yeah, I really like the Bearcats, close to a
I
best
agree.
bet for me. From Andy Baseball, Kai, Northern Arizona and Sacramento State.
Ooh,
Specifically, the total he wonders
ooh.
about. Sacramento State's been kind of an under machine this year. Do you have any takes there?
Like they're an under machine every year. No, I have no takes. I think Matt likes Sac Steak though on the side, didn't you?
I like them. I had a long look at this game this morning. No, I actually like the other side here. I think this team is like flat. Oh, sorry, no. I leaned Sac State, and then I realized as I dug in, like, oh no, I actually like the other side a lot more here. NIU played like the worst offensive game that Burkhardt said he's seen in 5 years there. I think they're going to play better today against a much less athletic defense that's probably down two of their best players, including arguably their most athletic defender in Vaughns. Uh, yeah, it's too short. The problem is that the home court is getting way too much respect here. I think this is a bad team, Sac State. So I don't know.
They are a
They're
bad team.
they're awful. I mean, they got completely punked by Northern Colorado. I know that's the best team in the league coming to town, but it was over immediately. They got down 25
Yeah,
to
it was.
6. Like 25 to 6. They got embarrassed on their home floor. I kind of think they're rolling over with their shorthandedness.
I looked at that game for
That
way too long. I did. Yeah, I'm passing.
that's a lot. There's a lot of discussion on that game. Matt, Tim Kafer asking about Seattle at Tarleton, another of your whack darlings. Long travel for your Red Hawks. They're laying 5 on the road.
Wait, no, aren't they coming from
Are
didn't
they
they
coming
just play
from
at
like
Abilene?
Utah?
They
Did
just
they?
played at
Okay.
Abilene. Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're right. I get
Well,
these
well caught.
scripts
Well caught.
confused. I passed. Seattle absolutely smoked Tarleton in the first one. Sure, there's revenge. We have said Tarleton at home is a better team. Still, I think I need more than I was hoping for like 8 or something.
Okay, Kai, North Alabama and Jacksonville. We always talk about the ASUN being tough to bet.
Really hard.
This one's rather tricky. North Alabama's actually been really good this year. Your current
Awesome.
line, North Alabama laying 5 at home.
Yeah, they took money at first. I think it got to like 7.5. I thought that was too high. Just ASUN is so unpredictable, but I'm not stepping in front of North Alabama. In fact, at 5, I would lean their way. This team is really, really good. Tony Poole's done a great job. They're basically a top of the league right now. Lean their way.
All right, Matthew, my ACC man. We got Virginia Tech meeting in a game that's sadly like completely meaningless. Both teams suck. Virginia Tech laying 1.5 or 2 at Castle Coliseum. Also questions about the total if you have any
I
leans.
actually like the over. I just thought it was really, really low. A slight lean to Virginia. Ron Sanchez continues to make the case that he deserves that job full time. Kai continues to make that case today.
He's making a poor case.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
they're
would not go to
improving.
court with this case. I would not go to court with
You got to
the
finish top
argument he's
100
making.
in the country to keep the Power 5 job.
It's a great league to sort of show fictitious gains. That's my take on the Ron Sanchez thing.
Kai in the Big 12, West Virginia off a home loss to BYU, headed to Baylor, who has no big men besides Omir, getting 8.5. Baylor laying 8.5 in Waco.
I lean pretty hard to West Virginia here. I think the interior lack of interior for Baylor is important. It means a lot against West Virginia. I don't love backing West Virginia away from home. Clearly, a fantastic home team. Baylor can score, of course, any number they want most games. but 8.5's a lot to lay for a banged up team. So I lean towards the Mountaineers.
Maddie, Portland got a big home win against Oregon State last time out. Are they going to be able to back it up against Loyola Marymount? Marymount coming to town laying 5 at the Pilots.
Yeah, they just got demolished by Pacific. And it's like, I don't know what LMU I can't figure out. I kind of lean Portland here. I thought it was a little low, frankly. But I do lean Portland.
I I kind of lean Loyola Marymount back, bounce back, buy low, sell high, I guess. But other side of it, Matt, Oregon State minus 13.5 at Pacific also had, or hosting Pacific, excuse me, also had
Oregon State
questions
at
about that.
Oregon
This is
State at
big
home.
time buy low, sell high.
Yeah, like the ultimate. And I think Oregon State at home has been much better. But I also think they sort of were playing a little bit above their skis to start. I think look at the last 4 games. Like, okay, that looks like a more normal Oregon State type of resume and one that I'm not eager to lay a big number right now.
Two Big East questions. Kai, we'll start with you. Xavier at home laying 12.5 against shorthanded DePaul. Still no Enright, no Skogman. Xavier at least have something to play for. They're in the bubble mix. But DePaul's been feisty. What do you say?
I think double digits is a lot for DePaul.
I agree.
And
Demons.
I don't think Xavier is a blow you out
Who
type
is
of
Xavier?
team this year.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I lean towards DePaul. Didn't take it, but
I took
lean
DePaul. It's my smallest bet of the day. How about that? Literally my smallest bet of the day. DePaul. My
I like
least
that.
confident wager. DePaul.
Yeah, I mean, they had that 3 game stretch where they got smashed and they've come back and been a little bit feisty. All right, Matt, the other one that was asked, Scott H. and a couple others, Nova at Providence. Friars a 3-point home dog. We don't let Kai talk about Kim English, me or Kai, because we get on our high horse. But Providence getting 3 at home against Villanova off that huge St. John's win.
Yeah, the spot's just too good at the dunk to bet Nova. I think 2 is really low, especially if Providence is shorthanded again. But I'm not going to bet Villanova in this spot. No chance. Good luck to you if you do.
Speaking of good luck to you, Kai, can anyone entice you in Syracuse as an 8-point home dog? Hold your nose against Garbaggio, Carolina. Matt says yes.
Yeah,
I've been throwing haymakers
Syracuse.
at Syracuse. I like Syracuse in this spot. The number 8?
Eight
Was
and a
it
half, man.
Yeah, UNC
Yeah,
sucks.
North
And,
Carolina's
I
winning a
took-
road game by 10.
I took a worse number. Hand up. I took Syracuse a worse number.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I like Syracuse.
So you like it even better now.
I might
That's
even
what
best bet Syracuse. This
Carolina's
is so disgusting. I
So
love it.
bad. So is Syracuse, but no thanks. I'm not laying 8 points with North Carolina. No.
All right. On the extra board, I'll field this one in the Patriot from Space Ace. Bucknell at Lafayette. Bucknell laying 1.5. I just generally like the under with these two, and Vanderbaan is back for Lafayette, best shot blocker in the conference. Think he makes it tough to score. I think like 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two have gone to overtime, if I'm remembering right. So that's scary when you're betting the under. But I think all of them would have stayed under in regulation. So you're just kind of hoping to avoid that, even with a near pick 'em spread. Lean towards Bucknell inside, but feel more strongly about the under. Matt, back to the WCC. San Francisco, after a game effort at Gonzaga, now they're going to San Diego and laying 13.5 on the road. What do you think?
I kind
Slim
of lean
Jim.
San Diego, actually. But I like that there's like 15 out there. I don't like that there's 15 and I missed it, so I have to take 13. Like, I'll just go ahead and pass. They haven't won in 3 months, right? The Toros. They have been kind of feisty, like in certain random spots, but I don't know. Pass for me, Kai.
Kai, Miami, Florida, showing signs of life, and Pitt might be the deadest of dead teams in the entire country. I could not ever convince myself to lay 12.5 with Pitt right now, down to 11. So the market likes Miami. What do you think?
Nope. Would never lay it with Pitt. Don't love betting Miami either. So lean towards Miami, but staying away.
Yeah,
But
Miami's
no
been
low?
playing slower. I don't know. What?
I like
Matthew?
Miami. No low. I like Miami today. 11.
Jalen Lowe is out. Okay, yeah, I think Miami keeps that close. Pitt is no good, circling the drain. Matt, I know you're really hurt about this. St. Thomas cannot make the NCAA tournament, but that's okay. They're still laying 8 at or against Omaha at home in a big one in the Summit. Any thoughts?
I thought Omaha was getting too many against South Dakota State. I was right. I didn't bet that. No, sorry, they actually did not cover. So they got forked late by. Okay, I think 8's kind of high here again. They played St. Thomas once. They beat them by 11. I think seeing St. Thomas once before sort of helps you, frankly. I slightly know Omaha at 8. I think it's a high number.
Yeah, fair. Kai in the MVC, Illinois State, Indiana State, ISU Red, ISU Blue. ISU Red is a 1.5-point road favorite. I kind of lean that way, but boy, do I stink at betting Illinois schools. So what do you say?
Yeah, slightly into Illinois State. Absolutely nothing strong in that game. Yeah, the Valley's tough this year to bet.
Valley's
Really
tough. Agreed.
Matthew, Kansas at Utah. I think this number's too low. I don't love Kansas this year, but I think Utah's a gettable team for them. Kansas minus 6.5 in the mountains. What do you think?
I kind of like Utah. I think it's actually a good matchup for Utah because Utah has like no perimeter speed, and I think that's Kansas's sort of weak. Like Kansas not having the crazy off the dribble go blow by guys, right? They just have really solid big execution dudes. I think it's a good match for Utah. I think they compete at home at altitude.
No perimeter speed is a great way to define
Zero.
that
Like
team.
Craig Smith's
Yes.
already talking about his plan for building next season's roster. It's February 14th, like in this current year. So yeah, it's noticeable.
Kai, speaking of perimeter speed, Arizona State's actually got quite a bit of it. They are
Mhm.
minus 4.5 at home against TCU. Jaden Quaintance still out. I like the over, which is famous last words with TCU, but ASU without Quaintance is just guards playing spread ball, and they're really tough to stop.
Yeah, and they overtook money. I think it's gone up like 2 or 3 points since the opener. Yeah, I guess lean towards Arizona State slightly. Don't love betting them. I think acquaintance is important. I know people have different opinions, so not a strong take on the side, but a lean towards the Sun Devils.
Yeah, in TCU, you don't get the Frankie Collins revenge game, sadly, as much as he would like to be in there. He's out for the year. Matthew, back to the Valley. Southern Illinois minus 1 at home against Belmont. High total game, 159. Question from Donovan Hill. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I learned my lesson with Belmont against Valpo. They need those bigs back. Orm and the other one who I think returned. They have zero rim protection. Without those guys, they don't have a ton with them either. Frankly, I just don't trust Belmont right now. I think it's over is a good look here. This is like four, five, two, 5 out lineups going back and forth. It's a big number, 159, but I like the over.
Kai, isn't Orm like the Ocean Master in DC Comics? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I'm a Marvel guy.
Okay, fair. I just remember one of the
I
Aquamans. I
see your
swear there's a
dork
character
comment and
named
raise you a
Orm.
dorkier
So
comment.
yeah, I'll be a dorking. 7-1-2 winners, Matthew. Right back to you in the Mountain West. Wyoming plus 10.5 at Colorado State. Wyoming has been very feisty under Sonny Wicks lately. Do they get another game effort here?
Yeah, I actually kind of like Colorado State here. I'm a big fan of this
Oh,
Ram team, actually. It's a big number, and I know Wicks as a dog is enticing. I just think coming off that game at New Mexico, that was like they went all in for that game. I think there's a little bit of a lull here. And we've seen this Wyoming team be bludgeoned by good Mountain West teams in bad spots. I think the Boise one sticks out. There's one other one they got absolutely crushed. Another point guard was out during those, but I just gut told me Colorado State's the right side. So my second smallest bet of the day is Colorado State, by the way.
I like getting Matt's rank to order size of bets. We're getting the smallest ones. Can't wait to find out what the bigger ones are. Kai, I have an opinion here. Curious if you share it. Washington State at St. Mary's
Ooh.
from Stephen. St. Mary's laying 14.5. I personally like the Gales, and down the stretch, I'm going to like the Gales and Gonzaga a lot because there's a chance that, again, the net is a WCC tiebreak. If St. Mary's were to drop another one, they're competing with Gonzaga for highest net. So I think they blow teams out, but what do you say?
I will never fade St. Mary's in WCC.
Ta-da.
That's
There
it.
you go.
I like
All
Wazoo
right,
here.
Matt, right above your spinny head is the Hawaii logo. They're hosting UC Irvine in the very late game, the get back game, 11 p.m. Central Tip. You like the Bows, Matt? Is that what you're telling me?
I liked it when it opened at like what was it, 6 or 6.5 or 7
Yeah,
almost,
four
I
and a
think.
half now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. Like as I said in the Discord, like these two teams could be playing on Mars on a short turnaround. I still like UC Irvine. I guess assuming in that case that Hawaii was like Martian or something. No, don't -4. These two teams should be like -10 on a neutral, I think.
I like the under, Matthew. I think that actually makes sense. It's gone up a
139.
half point, but lean that way. Yeah, just that's such a. How do teams do that? The 48 hours Big West to the islands and play.
I
That's
think Cal
a
Poly
challenge.
did that last year, and we all bet Hawaii, and Hawaii did not cover. But that was Hawaii as a favorite, so a little different here. But
Yeah.
Irvine's also just different categorically than freaking last year Cal Poly too. So I don't know. Yeah, tough handicap.
All right, last two questions quick. I'm seeing in the chat, and we'll get a Sunday question because it's a big game. Harvard -2.5 for stinky Columbia, Kai. That's the question from Stephen Tracy.
I,
Man, back to back. I kind of lean towards Harvard. Columbia has been not good without De La Rosa.
I took Harvard 1.5, but full disclosure, I took Columbia 2.5 yesterday, and I watched the game.
Lose. Yeah,
Columbia's really
lose.
bad. This is not the same team, non-con. I know De La Rosa's out, but it's pretty horrible how bad the supporting cast is. It's shockingly bad defensively.
Yeah, Matt, tipping in just over an hour, not one of the early. Maybe you actually have a take on an extra board game here. Colgate -3.5 at Boston U. Does Colgate actually start to get it going in league play
No,
leading up to the
I like
tournament?
BU here. I like BU. There's some money coming in on BU right now, actually, as I see. I do like BU in this one. I'm out on Colgate. I like the other Jones, bro.
Sad. Not great to see. All right, last one. Really
Jones?
quick opinion from everybody because
Joe.
it's a big game tomorrow and
Joe
multiple
Jones.
people asked about it. Creighton, if the spread is 4.5 at the Johnnies at Madison Square Garden, Kai, do you have an opinion on that?
Mm, what did I say before? Lean St. John's? I have no take. That's a good spread.
Okay, I like St. John's. I think a little bit of revenge. First game, forced a bunch of turnovers. I know they can't really shoot, and that doesn't set up awesomely against a very deep drop type of team. But Creighton also like forces guys to score in the mid range, and that's what Kadari Richmond does so well. I believe Matt was leaning to Creighton on that kind of spread because he likes Davon Smith, and Smith might not be back. That was what he said on the pod yesterday. So there are Creighton takes. To wrap it up, fellas, best bets. Kai, I gave out Stanford plus 7.5. I believe you gave out one already in Houston. Do you have
Hmm.
anything else for the people?
I got one more, Jim. And is it a mini hedge on my Montana future in the Big Sky? Yes, yes, it is. Northern Colorado plus 1.5 last time I looked. Uh, yeah, this team's just good. They're at Portland State today. The offense sings, even against the best defense in the Big Sky, Portland State. I think they'll score. I think Portland State has a lot of has a tough time scoring against UNC, the other UNC today, with the way they defend the paint, defend the glass. So Northern Colorado plus 1.5.
Will you tolerate Pick'em?
Is it down to pick? Geez,
Yeah.
that was fast. Yeah, I will tolerate Pick'em, Jim, if that's all that's out there.
Okay. Matthew, I'm going to add two
Ready.
more dogs before I pass it to you.
Oh,
So
no,
stay
take it.
loose, stay warm. K-State plus 7.5 already. I'm going to go Stanford plus 18.5. Stanford, the tree. Second game on the East Coast. I think the first game at Georgia Tech, the jet lag game is always going to be a dud for those teams going that far. But going to Duke, I think you get the hype spot. Kyle Smith, the better coach. Reynaud keeps them off the defensive glass. Always a backdoor possibility. I think Duke's just kind of like cruising to the finish line a little bit. They got semi backdoored by Cal. I could see that happening again here. Stanford's taking some money. It's plus to 18.5 there. And then VMI, the Keydets. I
Nice.
think they've been the better team than Mercer in conference play. They're getting over a touchdown now. Mercer's taking a little bit of money. But road revenge. VMI lost at home to Mercer right after the new year when they were not as good. They have trended up since. Mercer's trended way down. I think VMI keeps it close and potentially wins outright. So that is my trio, Matthew. What do you got for us?
I got the Aztecs -2, as I mentioned. Let's go show. UC Riverside, the Magpies -1/pick. I think pick is the more widely available number. But to me, pick and -1 are basically negligible. And then Bowling Green is my third ad, my only other ad. -1, -1.5 at Buffalo. These two teams are still competing to make the MAC tournament, so it does kind of matter. Bowling Green is healthier, and Buffalo stinks. So that's the handicap there. Motivated road favorite, I guess, if you will, is kind of the cute angle there. So that's it, fellas.
All right. I believe we have hit everything. Just Ted had a late question on Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. I kind of lean Texas Tech on the road. They've been really good on the road this year. Just a little worried about the spot coming off that 2 OT game against Arizona State. Hopefully the legs are all there.
I like OK State. I've been burned by them at home though a lot this year. So
Fair
not a
enough.
loser.
Stevie Lutz. All right, that is it. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Wrapping this up right before we kick off the 11 a.m. slate. A couple of big ones: Arkansas A&M, Clemson on the road at FSU. I will be highly tuned in. Great day of basketball. Make sure you find yourself a TV for Auburn, Bama. Go Tigers, as Kai is pointing out. And Kai, Mike Zhang said with his funds, we have to have a beer together.
Okay.
I think we can manage that.
You think
I
Matt will
we
come
can
out
do
and have a
that.
beer with us, Jim? Or will
I'd
he
love that.
make up an
Give us a
excuse?
couple hours.
That's a sell.
Or he-
What time though,
Sad.
and where?
3 o'clock.
I'm
Clover,
aware of
3
the hang.
p.m.
3 o'clock.
Okay, keep me in the loop. I mean,
All right,
probably a
that's
no,
it.
but keep me in the loop. I like to be kind of lurking in the shadows.
Cheers,
Bye.
everybody. We'll see you back for our pod.